Hey there. So, Lindsey Buckingham's wife of 21 years has just filed for divorce. So, what's going on there? What's the real reason? I'm breaking it all down for you in this video. So, stay tuned. Hey, I'm Rebecca Zung. I am a lawyer, I am an author, and I am a narcissist negotiation expert, and I help people negotiate all over the world in any kind of situation. And if you want to be the most powerful person in the room, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Okay, so let's talk about Lindsey Buckingham. Boy, has this guy, he's had quite the last couple of years, hasn't he? I mean, he was kicked out of his band, Fleetwood Mac, the band that he helped propel to stratospheric success. And then he had a horrible heart attack and had to have a bypass. Then the pandemic hit. And now he's got a brand new album out and he's excited, and he announced his brand new album, and the very next day his wife, it comes out, TMZ breaks the news that his wife of 21 years, Kristen Messner, has filed for divorce. So, you know, he's got this new album, he's getting ready to go on tour, and all this is happening. Now, I understand that the couple has 3 children, 2 of which are adults, meaning they're over the age of 18 and they've already graduated from high school, so they're not going to be an issue at all. Apparently, they have 1 child left at home who is 17, who may or may not be an issue depending on what the situation is. But if the divorce goes on long enough, it probably won't be an issue at all because this child will already have aged out. And more than likely, when you're dealing with a 17-year-old, there's really not much to have a conversation about. Plus, I understand he's leaving for tour soon. So more than likely, the whole custody issue is not going to be an issue at all. But what really happened there? Well, it could be a number of things. I remember when the whole Fleetwood Mac thing happened, where he was kicked out of the band, and I'm a huge Fleetwood Mac fan, I should say. I should mention that this is why I'm taking a particular interest in this, because I've loved Stevie Nicks since I was in high school, and I love Fleetwood Mac and just the whole thing. So, and of course, I've always followed the whole Lindsey Stevie thing, what's going on with them. But anyway, I digress. He was kicked out of the band, and I think it was 2018. And there was a lot of speculation around why that was. The band's official stance was that he didn't want to go on tour, and they wanted to go on tour. I don't know. They did end up getting a couple of people to replace him. I found it interesting they needed 2 people to replace him, but that's what they ended up doing. But his words were that the band manager, Irving Azoff, who's, legendary guy, he's managed, the Eagles and people like that. He called Lindsey one night and said, basically, Stevie issued an ultimatum saying he goes or I go, and I guess the band picked her. So I guess it was because they were at some event and there was some kind of honoring of Stevie and something around the song Rhiannon, and while she was giving her thank you speech, apparently he smirked or something like that. And I guess he also had a outburst before they went on stage or something. And anyway, so this ultimatum was issued. And so, he's had his problems with that. And, sometimes these celebrities can be difficult. There was a whole thing around that with Brad Pitt as well. And if you don't want to know more about that, you can definitely check out my video on the real reason Brad and Angelina ended up getting a divorce. But anyway, apparently he and his wife were at home. He gets this call from Irving. He finds out that he's out. But what I found more interesting, though, is that when that happened, his own wife goes on record in Rolling Stone magazine and says, Lindsey, he was edgier when I married him, and the marriage and fatherhood has softened him. The quote was, still, she admits he's always been a prickly guy. That's the truth. So maybe there was like a little bit of a omen there. Maybe she was saying something. So I'm thinking that, even the beginnings were happening back then in 2018, but then he had the heart attack and she stayed with him through that. And then there was the pandemic and she stayed with him through that. So I'm thinking that might be the real reason. He's just kind of a difficult guy. I think that he's a brilliant guitarist. I think he's an amazing songwriter. But, the bottom line is he just might not be the easiest person to be around. They could have waited till their kids were old enough as well. She might have just said, hey, let me wait until the kids are old enough and I don't have to deal with custody. Maybe it was COVID. A lot of people ended up getting a divorce after COVID because they had to spend so much time together. Maybe the relationships, there's a lot of COVID divorces because there were people that maybe the relationships weren't great to begin with. And then here they were all stuck at home and being together 100% of the time, 24/7. And it just caused an explosion, So it could be that. I think he was touring a lot before that. But sometimes it's just time to move on, right? I mean, sometimes it's just time to move on, whether it's a romantic relationship or any kind of a relationship. If you're in a relationship that is not serving your soul, then it is time to move on down the road. And if you agree with that, give me a yes, indeed, in the comments right now. So what happens from here with Lindsey and Kristen? Well, who knows? But they probably have a prenup. They more than likely will settle behind closed doors, as most celebrities do. They're not going to want this huge glare. He's getting ready to go on tour. So more than likely, they can just get this done. They don't really have to deal with kids. If there was a prenup, there might be some set amount of property settlement. There might be some set amount of support that she might get. Who knows? But he's going to sign that agreement more than likely and then hop on a jet and be on tour. So they won't even have to run into each other at the school or in Target or whatever, like normal people do. They'll just move on with their lives. So that's more than likely the real reason. That's more than likely what happened and what's going to happen. And if you are negotiating, grab my free Crush My Negotiation prep worksheet at winmynegotiation.com. And also join my free private Facebook group, Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. Love to see you in there. If you like this video, give me that like, share it out, especially with other Fleetwood Mac fans. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already. Subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks so much for stopping by. I always love to remind you that today is a great day to start negotiating your best life. And I will see you in the next video.